All right, so today we're talking about inside of our unit on cells. It'll be our day 3. We're going to finish up with organelles and the functions of those organelles. Specifically, what we're going to be looking at are things that are connected to the cytoskeleton and these microfilaments and tubules. So the cytoskeleton, just like a human skeleton, is basically the things that are going to be forming up and adding to structure and support inside the cell. It's also what's going to help out with cell division as well, and making spindle fibers, and in making the centrioles. And so I've got a picture here to kind of show you what it would look like. So basically, inside of a cell, the stuff isn't floating around. Your organelles aren't just floating around like in a water balloon, or like, floaties in a pool. They're actually suspended in there, and they have all these cables and wires all connected to them. Well, all these cables and wires build the structure of the cell and allows things to move around the cell on them. And so basically what's happening here is that they're creating this skeleton. So that's why it's called cytoskeleton. Cyto meaning cell, and the skeleton for it. Okay, and I like this picture because it gives us a really good three-dimensional image of that. So the centrioles are a bundle of microtubules, and that's what's here on both ends in the red. So whenever I think about a centriole, what I think of is if you take a whole bunch of a bundle of coffee straws and you just kind of bundle them together, that is really what centrioles look like to me. Their function is all about cell division. That's what their purpose is, and of course we're talking about in animal cells. Their function is that in animal cells. Now these lines that are leading out of it, that are going towards the chromosomes, these are the spindle fibers. Now, a plant cell does have spindle fibers, but they will not have the centrioles. All right, and the next thing we're going to look at is types of motility. And that cytoskeleton, those microfilaments and tubules, they even help out with this as well. And whenever we say motility, what we're talking about is movement. And so we're talking about how cells move. So of course you have the flagella. The flagella use that long whip-like tail. It's really common to see on a sperm cell, but of course also based on our images that we've been having, diagrams we've been going over, you also see them on bacteria, and really you'll see them on a lot of different things. Really a good way of thinking about it is if you think about a tadpole, that's really kind of what it looks like. You have the cell, then you have that tail that comes off of it. And as it whips around, it allows the cell to move. Cilia, they're different from it. So instead of being long, they're really short hairs that cover the outside of the cell. And basically what they do is they just kind of move around just a little bit. I always like to think of them as kind of like a silly fingers. And so they're just like little small projections that come off of them, and they just kind of move around a lot. And that causes them to be able to move and swim. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing paramecium. They're single-celled. You see how they actually have a lot of structures on the inside of them, and that lets us know that they're not a prokaryote or a bacteria. These are going to be a protist in that family or in that classification. And lastly, we have these pseudopodia. The pseudopodia looks probably the most unique, and what it does is it actually uses those the cytoskeleton and contractile proteins inside of it to move around. And so it's almost kind of like, imagine if I sewed up a big king size sheet around you and I asked you to move around and to walk, you would still be able to do so. You would still move your leg, move it out there, but it would make these projections out of the sheet, and wherever you happen to want to move your arms at or move your legs at, you would be able to move in that direction. It would just look a lot more funny. And so that's kind of how theirs is, really. All right, so here's our daily review. So really all we talked about today was the cytoskeleton, how it adds support. Make sure you know about the different microtubules and filaments and its function there. Also about cell division and the centrioles and the three types of motility. And make sure you know those synonyms that would go with movement. You know, locomotion, motion, to move, and be able to differentiate between the three types. So please make sure you can do that. Okay? And next, of course, here's those images for you. And if you would like to, I'll just pause here, allow you a chance to label these out. And of course, like always, the answers on the next one. There's your answers. All right, here's this cell. Go ahead and pause it, answer it. About to move on. And here's the next one. Pause it, answer them. And I'm about to move on. Okay, and next video will be your test review on this material.